So you're thinking about moving to Miami, Florida, but you're wondering if you can afford it. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the cost of living in Miami, and we're going to break it down anything from housing, taxes, insurance, transportation, food, and definitely entertainment. So if you want to learn more, stick around. What's up, everybody? This is Raymond Goidigozari. I'm a full-time Florida realtor with your Living in Miami, Florida team. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn everything about living, eating, sleeping, playing in the Miami area, then subscribe below and tap that bell for notification so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Now, we get calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving soon, 90 days from now, a year from now, make sure to reach out to us, shoot us a text, send us an email, DM us on social media, however you like, and we're happy to help you make that move to Miami, Florida as smooth as possible. Now, in this video, we're gonna talk about how expensive or not expensive it is living in Miami. I'm sure everyone has heard about it, but we're gonna break it down so you can have a better idea on why it's so expensive living in Miami, Florida. Make sure you watch until the end to find out if your city is more or less expensive than living in Miami. So the number one thing I wanna talk about is housing costs. The most expensive cost you will incur living here in Miami is gonna be your housing, whether you're gonna buy a property or you're gonna rent. Now, if you're gonna rent, rents are more expensive than actually paying a monthly mortgage. Obviously, you gotta put the down payments and there's more upfront costs of buying a home, but in the long run, it is much worth it. So rents is getting very expensive here in Miami. A one bedroom average is around $2,000. Now, it all depends on the area. Obviously, the closer you are to the downtown Brickell area, closer to the water, the heart of the city, it's going to be more expensive. So it's going to be less expensive if you're moving out west, like to Kendall, even Homestead is probably the least expensive if you're out west and south. So looking at 3-bedroom, you're looking at an average of $3,500 if you want to rent a single family house with a 3-bedroom. And again, if you're closer to the east side, you're looking at high $4,000 to rent a single family home with at least 3 bedrooms. So the rents have definitely gone up, but again, if you're moving down here, a lot of clients come down here and they're not ready to buy because they're not familiar with the area. Renting is a good option, maybe for the first year to get a feel for what neighborhood you like. Maybe you're not sure if you're gonna be here the long term. So obviously for the short term, renting is a good option. The median home sales price in Miami is approximately $480,000. Again, that's just a medium. Miami has places where they're uber expensive and other places where they're less, but in today's market, the housing has gone up a lot, and for a single family home, you may not find anything less than $350,000. If it's gonna be less, definitely it's gonna be a fixer-upper or a tear down, some opportunity for an investor. The closer again you are to the East Coast, some neighborhoods like Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, Pinecrest are gonna be a little more expensive because that's the heart of the city. You're close to everything, the beaches, the marinas, the downtown Brickell area. So a lot of things to do there. And as you move out west, the prices start going down. But those are gonna be your prices more or less for a single family home. Now, condos are different. Condos you can find maybe an average of $300,000 to $350,000 for an apartment. And there's definitely plenty of options down here for condos. Now, just to give you an example, for a $500,000 house, your mortgage payment will be roughly $3,200 per month. And this is taking into consideration that we're doing a 30-year fixed. You're putting 20% down payment, and that includes your principal and interest, your property taxes, and your homeowner's insurance, assuming we're not in an HOA where you have no HOA fees. Sales tax in Miami-Dade is 7%, which is made up of 6% for the Florida state tax plus a 1% in Miami-Dade. So if you buy something for $100, you're paying $7 in sales tax. Now, we don't have state income tax, which is awesome. Your money goes a long way down here. And so that's a positive. That's one of the main reasons people move down here. And when it comes to property taxes, it can range, depends on where you live. It can be anywhere from 1.6% of your assessed value, home value, all the way up to 2.48%. So every neighborhood has different property taxes. And the good thing is that they cannot raise it more than 3% every year. So you know that what you're paying is more or less, it might go up, but it's not going to drastically go up from one year to the next. Now, if you live in a community, like a gated community with pools, golf courses, or all the amenities, then you're paying an HOA, a homeowners association fee, and that can run you an average of $200 to $500, again depending on the type of community. I've seen some that are way more than $500, but roughly $200 to $500 a month. So those are more or less your taxes that you'll be paying in when it comes to housing. Taking to about the taxes down here, let's say if you buy a house and you're gonna go sell it after 2 years, you can transfer up to $500,000 without paying capital gains tax to the next home. And that is a huge benefit if you're gonna upgrade or downgrade, or even if you're an investor. That saves a lot on taxes. And we have something called the home exemption, where you don't pay up to $50,000 of the assessed value in taxes. So the first $50,000 are discounted off your assessed value, and so it's sort of like a discount if it is your primary home residence. You may be watching this at a different time, so if you want the actual cost of housing or anything in living in Miami, go ahead and shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now, insurance. Insurance is another one. Down here in Miami, we are close to the water, so our home insurance is very expensive because we get hurricanes. Depending on where you live, maybe you're able to get only property insurance, homeowners insurance. But if you live very close to the water or some flood areas and you're gonna buy a house financing it, then the bank will definitely require you to get flood insurance. That is on top of your homeowner's insurance, and roughly it could be around $2,000 extra on top of your homeowner's insurance. So that's something to consider if you're gonna live on the east side of Miami, close to the water, or in certain areas that are considered flood hazardous areas. But homeowner's insurance is something that could definitely creep up there in your housing, your monthly housing expense. So moving along, sticking with the same theme of housing, because that's going to be your biggest expense once you buy a house. Then how much is it going to cost you to run that house? So operating expenses like your utilities, including electricity, water, sewer, garbage, internet, cable, all of that. So electricity, you're looking at $200 to $300 of a range for a single family house. Again, depending on how many people are living in the house, how much you use from electricity. Do you cook a lot? Do you wash a lot of clothes? All that's gonna factor. I would say a medium of $250 a month. That's in my house, that's how much we pay. We pay $250. We only have one utility company when it comes to electricity, and that is the Florida Power and Light Company, FPL. And they have a good option that they let you select, maybe not right off the bat, but after seeing some usage, they give you an option of choosing a flat rate that you can pay throughout the whole year. Let's say in the summertime, because that's when most of your electricity is going to be used. Let's say it's $350 or high or low 300s, but in the winter it's below 200. So they take an average and they give you that. Let's say it's $250, like in our case, in my house. So you can pay $250 a flat rate throughout the whole year, no matter what month it is. So that way you're consistent and you know how much you're gonna pay every month. You can budget for that expense. You don't have to do it, but it's a good option that they give. Now, one thing about living down here in Miami, it gets hot in the summertime, but the winter you're gonna save a lot on electricity. So you may not want to do that flat rate, because you will have the air conditioning running very little in the winter time. Even in the fall or the winter, you're gonna have the AC not running as much as in the summertime. Or maybe in the summertime you go on vacations a lot and you don't even turn it on because you're not home. So it all depends. Water is very cheap down here, maybe $20, $30 a month, and they charge you quarterly every 3 months. Cable, you have many options. You have Xfinity, which is the big one, and it's really good when you have DirecTV, Dish Network. A lot of people are cutting the cord, especially in my house. We chose YouTube TV, and we absolutely love it. It has a great menu. It's very user-friendly, so a lot of people are choosing that. Hulu, any other companies, but if you're gonna choose that, cable company, especially Xfinity, is the most expensive, between $100 and $200 a month. If you get internet with them, sometimes they'll throw it in for free, but internet could run you on the low end $60, $70, but average of $100, depending on how much speed or devices you use. And so right there with electricity, to say $250, water, let's say another $30, that's $280, $120, that's around $500 monthly expenses, including electricity, water, internet, and cable TV. More or less average of $500 a month. So that is more or less your housing. Now, how about outside the house? You are gonna wanna take care of your lawn. Maybe you don't have time to do it, but your landscaping is very important down here because it rains a lot. We have a lot of green grass, a lot of trees, and that's the beauty of living in South Florida. You're gonna want to have a nice landscaping if you own a house. So roughly, you're looking at around, if you have a small yard, you can get away with $50 a month. But looking at $120 a month, give or take, average for landscaping. And if you have a pool service could run you about $100 a month. It's very important because let's say in the winter you don't use it a lot. You want to make sure you maintain it, keep it clean, and because if that pool gets super dirty, something gets clogged and it breaks, to go ahead and fix that pool and refurbish it, it's going to cost a lot of money, and the pool can go ahead and shift. A lot of things can happen, so it's important to maintain and keep your pool as clean as possible even if you're not using it. So that's another $100 a month. And so more or less that's gonna be your housing expenses. Now, let's talk about the transportation. Transportation costs are another cost to consider. And moving down here, are you gonna be driving? Which I definitely recommend. Miami is a city that is very spread out. You can be working in the downtown area. Maybe you live all the way down west. So you're gonna need a car to get around if you wanna move around efficiently and pretty quickly. So gasoline, well, the prices in 2022, right now as we're filming, they're around low $4 and change. And hopefully they'll drop a little more. So they kind of fluctuate. But Miami is on the expensive side, but there's other cities that are more expensive in gas. Now, just to give you an idea of how much driving we do down here in Miami, Florida, and how much it will cost if you own a car and you drive a lot, I spend about $60 more or less. The gas has been pretty high lately, so sometimes I fill up with $70, and that's every 3 or 4 days. Now, I do a lot of driving. I'm a realtor, so I drive all over Miami, showing properties and just visiting clients. So that's on the high end, just to give you an idea. Maybe you go to work and you park your car and you drive back, you're definitely gonna spend less than I do. You may spend $100 in parking in the garage, but that's a different story. Now in tolls, I also spend a lot, about $100 a month in tolls because I do a lot of driving. So this will give you an idea of how much driving we do down here in Miami, Florida. Now, let's say you don't wanna drive, or not all the time. Let's say you want to go out on the weekends and you were going to have some drinks, or you're going to go to a sporting event. Most people here take Uber, which is very popular since we are a city that's spread out. You want to take a car to get around quicker, so Uber is a great option. And if you're going to live in the urban area, you have more transportation available to you. You have the Metro Rail system, which takes you from the north side to downtown back to the south part of Miami. There's like a little loop, and that is like $250 a ride. It's not that expensive, but it's very helpful. Some people even drive to a station and then they take it all the way to downtown if they work in that area. Within the downtown and Brickell area, you have a mini Metro Rail. It's called the Metro Mover. That one is absolutely free, and that takes you a loop from downtown to Brickell. So it's great if you wanna, let's say you live in those areas and you want to go out to the restaurant, go on, hop on, get off the restaurant and come back, or just go to Miami Heat Arena. And it's very convenient if you live in that area. You also have trolley systems. You have a trolley system in the downtown area, the Coral Gables, and you have, I think, in Westchester, some transportation. Doral is another neighborhood that has a trolley system. So certain neighborhoods have their own trolley systems that go up and down main streets, which is great during the week. Let's say you work in that area and you want to go have lunch. It's a great little short distance transportation you can take. We have the Bright Line, which if you're going to travel, let's say to West Palm Beach, Broward, on the East Coast, and travel up and down different counties within Miami, still considered within the South Florida area. The Bright Line is a new system that's a train that goes very fast. I don't know, about 70 miles per hour. I think it's gonna go even faster now. So you can get from Miami to West Palm Beach in like 30 minutes, which usually takes an hour and a half. So that's another good one for a long distance. What other transportation do we have? Those are basically it. Car, If you want a bike, again, bike rides, I have another video talking about the pros and cons. Bike paths are not one of our pros. If you're gonna go for leisure, there are a lot of parks and recreational bike paths you can take, with which they have beautiful scenic bike paths. But if you're gonna go to and from work, taking a bicycle is not gonna be the most effective way. Unless, again, if you live in the Brickell downtown area, maybe in Coral Gables or Coconut Grove, where you're just traveling short distances. But let's say you live in a neighborhood and your kiddo's school is very close. Like my nephew rides to school in a bicycle. A lot of kids do that. If your school is very close within the neighborhood and it's very friendly, there's always patrols outside the schools directing traffic and helping bicycle and people walking to school. So in that case, yeah, but definitely not to work or getting around the entire city. Parking is another cost that you have to consider, maybe or maybe not. But most people that they work in the downtown Brickell, even Coral Gables, Doral, certain area where there's a lot of jobs, you will have to park either a meter, which if you're gonna work, you're not gonna be choosing a meter. You're gonna park in the garage, maybe of the building you're gonna work at, and some employers will pay for it, but most will not. And you're looking at an average of $100 a month on your parking just going to work. So that's something to consider as well. On top of parking, if you're going out in the city and just going out to a restaurant or anywhere, certainly definitely in the east side, in the cities like downtown Brickell, Coconut Grove, the Coral Gables area, where parking is limited, you will have to pay for metered parking or some garage parking, ranging from $10 to $20 to park in the garage. Meters could be like a $150 to up to $325 per hour parking in a meter. So that's something to consider constantly. And also, I forgot to mention, tolls is another thing to consider as driving. If you're gonna be driving around Miami, Florida, then definitely consider getting a Sun Pass, which is a sticker that you put on your car, connected, you open an account, and every time you go through the Sun Pass lane on the highways, they deduct it from your account. So if you're gonna drive a lot all over the city, you can be paying $50 to $100, even more a month on just paying on tolls. So tolls and parking are one expense that definitely adds up without even noticing. If you're a family and you have kids, and maybe you're gonna have a kid or you're newborn, and you and your spouse are both working, you have nobody to take care of your baby, daycare is an option, or if you have a family member. But if you're gonna put your children in daycare could run you about $200 to $250 per week, and Monday through Friday. Some have the option of doing half day, but you're looking at an expense of $800 to $1,000 a month only on daycare. Now, people have families where they can take care of their babies, but if you don't, obviously you and your spouse have to work. You have nobody to look over your baby or your child. There are many daycare options to choose from, and more or less they're on the same price range of $200 to $250 per week. So that's an extra expense of roughly around $1,000 a month. Now, groceries, obviously we all have to eat, whether you eat in and you like to cook or you eat out. So if you like to cook, we have many supermarkets to choose from. The most popular down here is Publix. That's one of my favorites. I like it. It's a little more expensive than the usual, but it, just like their slogan, Publix is shopping like where shopping is a pleasure. And going in there is so convenient. The service is great. As soon as you're paying, they bag the groceries up for you. They're so nice and very helpful. So that's why I like going. I walk in and I feel comfortable shopping. Everything is spaced out, and you pay a little premium, but they do have great deals. Buy one get one free, 2 for like $6, 2 for $4, whatever it is. But they always have specials going. So Publix is a main supermarket down here in Miami and most of Florida. Other supermarkets are Aldi, which is less expensive, a smaller supermarket, but I actually like it too. And they don't have all the brands, but they have a lot of good brands, some name brands, but even their own brand is really good and it's very inexpensive. So if you want to save some money on groceries, Aldi is a supermarket you need to visit. If you want to buy in bulk, we have Costco, well, Walmart, we have Target, and we have Sam's Club, BJ's, all those warehouse stores like Costco. We have all of those. If you like to eat organic, or a little better quality food, we have Whole Foods. Fresh Market is another good one, similar to Whole Foods. And we have smaller ones like Sprouts and Trader Joe's, which is our smaller supermarkets that are tailored to organic and little finer groceries. So those are gonna be your groceries, and typical prices: $4 a gallon for your milk, and $2.50 for your dozen of eggs. And Miami is expensive, but on the groceries you can find options and different supermarkets where you can shop. We also have Sedano's, which is more of a Hispanic supermarket, so they have more Hispanic food. We have Winn-Dixie, which also turned to it got bought out, and now it's called Fresco y Más. So we have many supermarkets to choose from, so you can go a little expensive on the groceries or on the low end. So that is gonna be pretty much similar anywhere you live. Now, one of the most expensive things that I think Miami becomes, living here in Miami, is the dining out, the leisure, going out for drinks, the events, concerts, music festivals, all those things that make Miami so much fun to do. All the things that make Miami so much fun is what really makes Miami so expensive. Now, if you're like me and have a family with kids, I have 2 daughters of the age of 4 and 6. We're constantly doing things on the weekends. And so whether it be just hanging out or laying low at a mall, having churros, or walking around, or we have a packed weekend of either birthday parties, events, festivals, but there's always things to do and places to go on the weekend. So you're gonna have to plan for those expenses. And if you're single, absolutely, Miami has a lot of things to do. Besides the nightlife, the beach, and a lot of places to go and do if you're single. So that's another expense you have to calculate if you're living in Miami, because if you're moving down here, you're definitely gonna want to enjoy the nice weather and all the entertainment Miami has to offer. Miami is more expensive than the rest of the country, and mainly because of the housing, transportation, and the entertainment. So those are the 3 sections that make Miami so expensive compared to all the other cities in the rest of the country. So you're probably wondering if Miami is more expensive than your city. Well, if you're coming from cities like New York, San Diego, California, Oakland, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, California, even Portland, Oregon, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Denver, Colorado, just a few cities that are more expensive according to the cost of living index than Miami, Florida. So there you have it. Miami is not that expensive if you're coming from certain cities, but if you're coming from the rest of the country, Miami will be a little more expensive, and it'll be something to get used to if you can afford it. But if not, don't be afraid. Miami has many neighborhoods where you can live within your means and still enjoy a nice lifestyle here in Miami, Florida. Tons of people move into Miami every single year, but now you are better informed after watching this video on how much it actually costs living here in Miami. So feel free to reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, whether you're moving soon, 90 days from now, a year from now. Make sure to reach out to us so we can help you make that move to Miami, Florida as smooth as possible. Until next time, we'll see you later.